Hi, everybody. Jean Humbrecht with Humbrecht Law, criminal and traffic defense attorney in Manassas, Virginia. Welcome to my Wednesday local business spotlight. Today, I have a very special guest, colleague, and friend of mine, Doug Burham with All Assured Solutions. Doug founded All Assured Solutions to be able to offer the most robust suite of products and services that help a business protect its assets, reduce risk and expenses, increase profits, and improve efficiency. The strength of the company is the strength, expertise, and partnerships and local knowledge help the needs of any individual, family, or business. With them, it's personal. Their philosophy is and will always be that every client is unique. They want to work together with you on your plan to project what you have worked so hard to get out of life, and let him help to protect your world. So, really quickly before I turn it over to you, Doug, anybody that is tuning in, feel free to type any questions or comments into the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And while we have Doug here, we can try to get your questions answered, because if I know Doug, he is going to be a wealth of information and I'm going to have so many questions. So you probably will too. And I'm sure Doug will have all of the answers and probably even more answers than we were thinking about. So Doug, I'm going to turn it over to you right now while I share the video on in some different groups.
All right, perfect. Good afternoon, everybody. As Jean mentioned, I am Doug Burham with All Assured Solutions. Actually, probably when I sent you that promo or the description of my business, I guess it's been a little while. I've actually added personal lines. So my original introduction mainly said I was focusing on commercial, but as I've learned since I've opened up my agency over the last 6 months, is that I need a diverse book of business. So I am helping personal lines clients out with their home and auto, and if you read Gene's book, you'll understand that you need to keep your driving record clean to help keep your costs down on your insurance. But anyway, so short of it is everything Gene mentioned, that's who I am. And what our agency does is really help protect what matters most to you, whether it's your business, your employees, or you individually. So we can do everything from general liability to workers' comp, E&O policies for the professionals out there, in home, auto, your boat, your classic hot rod. If you're one of those car collectors, we can help you with that. You got a classic boat, we can help you insure that. You name it, we can insure it. At the end of the day, I hope what will happen with this is when you think of insurance, think of us. Think of All Assured Solutions, because we offer so many different products and services, even stuff from identity protection. That's probably the biggest thing that's hit us since COVID is, it was out there before COVID hit, but it's worse now. So we offer protection plans for that to help you fix and get you back to where you were when you first got hacked. But so anyway, that's what we do. We help protect whatever is important to you. So if your identity is important, we're going to protect that. If your auto policy, your car is important to you, we're going to help you protect that. So just reach out to us and let us come up with a solution that fits your needs, and we'll meet you at every avenue. And you want to text me. You want to call me. You want to email me, we can work around your schedule to make it work for you. So again, Doug Burham at All Assured Solutions. And thanks again, Gene, for having me on today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I spoke with Doug once before a while back, and I remember I had so many questions, and I probably don't even remember everything, but this is a good opportunity because people might be tuning in now who didn't see the last live that we did. So I don't even know where to start because there are so many things that we could talk about. So I guess first, maybe we'll talk about something that people don't think about. Everybody knows. Actually, no. Everybody knows they need car insurance, but maybe not everybody knows the different types of coverage that are available and why they would need it. So maybe if we could talk about that, I think that might be of use to some people.
So on the car insurance side, what I do not recommend is state minimum coverage. A lot of people get insurance because someone tells them they need it. The bank tells you need full coverage insurance because you've got a loan on your car. When you come to us and ask us to help you with your insurance needs, we're not going to offer you state minimum coverage. And the reason we don't offer it is there's multiple reasons, but the biggest one is you don't want to be hit by somebody that has state minimum coverage, because otherwise you're going to be using your own policy. And what I mean by that, and for those of you who don't know what state minimum coverage is the state says you have to have a certain amount of coverage. And I recommend at a minimum for your coverage is $100,000, 100, 300, I should say, for coverage. If you're a single person, if you're married and you own a home, I would recommend a minimum coverage of 250, 500, because the more assets you have, the more people can come after you for. Jean is very well aware of, traffic tickets and helping, but I'm sure she's had some surprises when the client's being sued for other things and the client calls them back and goes, hey, you know what? I hit somebody, and now they're coming after me. So anyway, if you're interested in learning more about how, reach out to us. We'll go through the process. We'll help you understand. And to be honest with you, I talk about insurance on like a middle school level, if you will. I don't break it down and go, hey, you got this coverage, this is why it means this, but I will explain to you so you fully understand your coverages.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what our team will do for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And so when a lot of people come to me, they come to me after something has already happened. And I obviously represent people who are charged with traffic and criminal offenses. So someone's in a car accident, there's a reckless driving charge, there's a failure to yield, whatever the charge is as a result of that accident, that's when they contact me. And then insurance is a whole separate ballgame. But what happens in criminal court can affect, I'm not going to get in the whole legal issue, but it can affect future civil liability. And sometimes there might not be a criminal charge and it might just be a civil issue. But it's important to know what your insurance coverage is and what you're likely to be out, because and if you don't have insurance, that's obviously a very big problem.
Oh, absolutely, because you're well aware that, and I'm sure most of the people that are actually on this call pretty much understand that. When it comes to insurance, as you talked about, depending on what the charge is and what you can get it reduced to, because I'll use as an example, I had a speeding ticket years ago, and my attorney at the time, unfortunately, I didn't know Gene at the time. My attorney got it reduced to failure to obey a highway sign versus speeding. And that speeding ticket at the time would have been 4 points on my driving record. The failure to obey a highway sign was 0. So yes, I still have a ticket, but my insurance costs weren't affected as much as the speeding was versus the traffic sign. So they look at it differently. So that's where you get to use Jean and take advantage of her expertise to help keep, if I was your insurance agent, keep the cost down, because I know a lot of you think of me as I'm your bill, but I don't want you to think of me as a bill. I'm here to guide you because, as Jean mentioned earlier, things happen. You're driving your car and, they're called accidents for a reason. Nobody intentionally crashes well, I shouldn't say that. Most of us don't intentionally crash our cars. It's an accident, and that's what insurance is for, is protect you for when that, for lack of a better word, stuff happens,
Yeah.
So that's what insurance is all about. So we, at All Assured Solutions, we offer multiple companies to try to find the best rate and the best coverage for you.
Okay. And then one thing, just to follow up on what you were saying about getting the ticket reduced, there, as far as I'm aware, there is no bright line rule about if you're convicted of this is how much your insurance is going to go up. Your insurance companies look at, how long you've been with them, how long it's been since you've had an infraction or accident, where you live, your age. There's so many factors that go in there. However, generally, the more severe the ticket or criminal charge that you're convicted of, the more likely it is your insurance is going to go up, and the higher it is likely to go up. So we always want to try to get it, reduced as much as possible, out of the speeding category, out of the reckless driving category, and, avoiding points as much as possible, because Insurance companies will look at that. They will look at what you were convicted of. How fast were you going? They look at all those things. So, but that's the last, that I guess we can cut off with auto insurance, because I could just talk about traffic tickets all day long. And we're
Right.
not here to talk about me today. So, there's so many other, I wanted to ask you a question, because I don't know if you mentioned it. Do you handle pet insurance? Because I know that's a new thing.
That we do have options that can help you get your pet insurance. So I don't have all the companies, like Nationwide has a great product. I have a service that you can get a discounted rate on it. So yes, I can help with pet insurance. It's not something that we focus on, but if you have a question about insurance, call me. I will point you in the right direction if I'm not the one that's going to be able to help you. I have lots of local partners that help us expand. Like our agency right now does not do health insurance, but I have a great connection that's local in our backyard that helps us with health insurance. So we can help you with everything else, but the health insurance is about the only thing we physically don't do in our agency today. Not
Okay.
saying we're not going to do it in the next 2 to 3 months. As we grow, that will be one of the things we want to add to our agency.
Okay.
So I hope that makes sense or helps.
Yeah, it does. You also mentioned that the identity theft protection was a big thing since COVID. Can you explain how it has changed because of COVID? And everybody knows, that what could happen if you get hacked, and I think everybody knows what identity. Well, maybe they don't know. If you could just tell everybody briefly what the identity theft protection does, and
Sure.
how serious it is if you are breached or hacked and something does happen to you.
So if we're talking about a company, if a company is hacked, um, typically that company, like for me, if you were my client and my agency was hacked, and I have thousands of clients, that attack could have access to all of your personal data.
Hmm.
So I have policies in place to cover that and protections in place to protect that. So God forbid if something like that were to happen, then I have an insurance policy help cover, because you're going to be suing me and they're going to be suing me and they're going to be suing me because they got the data from me. The facts are, most of the time we don't even know that they got into our system and hacked us, because they're waiting for the right thing. They've got into the back door and gotten your information, but they may not be using it right away. They may be selling it on the dark web, and then someone else is going to use it, but you don't even know how they got it. So there's systems in place that can monitor your phone, your computer, and protect you from all the websites you're going to making sure you're not going there. Monitor the dark web, monitor your social security, monitor your federal ID for your business. And we offer a service to help you with that protection. And if you are to get hacked, because again, the hackers are good, they're better than most of us in general that think we know how to protect ourselves. They will go back and fix it to where you were before you were hacked. I have a friend slash client that actually a business partner stole his identity and bought stuff and created new entities in it. And this happened a year before he bought the service. They're still fixing the service for him now. They will go back and fix everything. It's just having a product that can help protect you, because again, at the end of the day, we don't know. I mean, Gene, you could have sent me a link today, and this is just a hypothetical. You could have sent me a link today, and I opened it up, and that opened up a back door to everything in my system. That's why you got to make sure, if you're not familiar with the email that you're opening up, don't click on the links. You've got to protect yourself. You got to think about it. But most of us don't think about stuff like that. So having a protection in there in place to help protect you. I mean, there's stories out there where kids, there's a story of a 7-year-old kid on his 7th birthday found out that he had a foreclosed home in Florida and 3 cars repoed.
Wow.
At 7 years old. Because most of us don't think about monitoring our children's identity. As soon as they get a social security number, they're fair game. It's for the hackers. They want their information, they're going to get it, because that's they can build a credit. And most of us aren't looking at our kids' stuff. But systems, the identity protection that we offer, can give you protection for that and help you.
So how does the protection work? And if you are hacked, what does that protection do for you? Or does it
So,
prevent a hack? How does it work?
so the original goal is to do the preventing.
Mhm.
But if someone can get around all the back doors and get in there and still get your identity,
Mhm.
it'll monitor it for you. So let's just say your social shows up on that you just rent an apartment in Arizona and you've never been to Arizona, you live in Virginia. They're gonna see your social because they're monitoring all your accounts of your social security, and they're gonna let you know, hey, is this you? And then you click on a link and read it. That's because it's coming through your portal. You have a little portal that's monitoring the system for you, and you
Mhm.
go, no, this isn't you. So then you call up the company and you reach out to them and say, hey, this is not me. And then they'll send you a form, a power of attorney to sign to let them, because they have their own private investigators, go in there and fix everything. So while, yes, you're frustrated, you got hacked and someone stole your identity, but you can still go to work that day. You can still take care of the kids. Whatever it is you're doing on a normal basis, you can go and live your life while they fix everything for you. And the service that I prefer the most, I have multiple companies that offer services like this, but the service I use the most and that I found the most cost effective is Identity Shield through P.L.L.C. That's the
Mhm.
service that I recommend to all my friends and family and my business owners.
So the benefit of having that is that you can detect, basically you can detect sooner if something fraudulent is going on, and it's easier to rectify the problem and get your money back, or potentially not be charged the money. Whereas if you don't have that and then you discover something later, it's probably going to be a huge pain to have to try to fix or even get your money back at
Well,
all, right?
exactly,
Correct?
exactly. It's gonna take time, and like for example, let's say you're gonna buy a house, and you go to fill out all the credit report, and the loan officer calls you back and goes, "Hey, when did you live in Arizona?
Hmm.
There's a foreclosed home on that." Then it's harder for you. Now you just lost out on the opportunity to buy that house right then and there,
Hmm.
because it's going to take a while to fix that. But if you have a system in place looking for this stuff, then it's going to be fixing it before you make your decision to buy a house. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's preventative. It's like insurance. It's not an insurance, but it's like insurance. The reason you have insurance is because in case something happens, the reason you want identity help it to protect your identity is because the facts are the numbers are going up. They went up 400% in 2020 from the year before, and they're going up all the time. It's not a fact of or matter of when. It's going to happen, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
Some point in your life. I mean, look at Equifax. Those companies were breached. Target was breached a year or two ago, whenever it was. These big companies, but the facts are they're going after the little companies like me and you, Gene. That's who they're going after, because most of the smaller companies wouldn't even know they've ever been hacked, you
Right.
know? So, but if you find out, like, say for example, you were a client of mine and I got hacked, but you found out, a month later that someone used your identity to buy a car and all that stuff, or even create a new identity with your information and got a driver's license somewhere else. You know, this is what these folks are doing. So they can help you fix that stuff. You don't have time. You don't even know how to do it. I don't know how to do it, you know, but they have private investigators to help do it.
So a question about that. Say I'm a client of yours and you get hacked. And you have the insurance
Mhm.
set up for your business. Does that protect both you and your clients? Or do I
So
like would I need my own insurance as well? Like how does that work?
So I have a system in place for my business that the same it's called ID Shield for Business,
Hmm.
that is looking for, it's searching and looking for stuff just like they're doing when you on the identity portion for your personal stuff. You give it as much information as you want and it's going to monitor it: bank accounts, credit cards, all that kind of stuff. It's going to monitor whatever you give it to monitor. In my case, I also have insurance, cyber coverage insurance. So that means the difference in the insurance world is they're not going to spend any money until I've spent money. So if say you find out that your identity was stolen through me, you're coming after me for my expenses. So if I've got $1 million policy in cyber coverage, then and we find out that your system, your identity, they figured out it came through me is how they got to your identity, then I'm going to be paying the fees to fix all your stuff.
But if you have the insurance, your insurance covers that.
Up to that $1 million.
Right. Okay.
And the identity protection comes with $1 million worth of coverage too, for each individual, the ID shield. So if something were to happen and it's all these costs are coming up, they're going to spend as much money, as much time as it takes to fix it. But if someone actually stole some money from you, then you also have that their coverage too, up to $1 million. So there's opportunity. It's protection. They have an insurance policy against each person that has this stuff too. But the ID shield is not an actual insurance, if that makes sense, if I'm explaining it correctly. It's a coverage protection. It's not insurance. It's not going to just, like, I guess I'm really confusing you a little bit, because there's two different things. There's cyber coverage and then identity protection. So business owners, and you can actually get a cyber policy on an individual. There's companies like Chubb that offer that. But again, I think the best product is the identity shield through P.L.L.C. because it's inexpensive.
So Mike Whitlock asked a question, but I just want to ask, which I'm going to get to. I just want to ask.
I don't get to see the questions. That's what I put my glasses on for. I don't get to see them.
Okay. Well, Mike is asking more questions. Thank you, Mike. So I'm going to get, so my follow-up, Doug, so we don't forget later. Maybe you explained it and I'm just not understanding. If you could tell us later the difference between cyber protection and the identity theft insurance, but we'll come back to that. Okay. So Michael Whitlock, thank you for joining, Michael. Says Doug is very knowledgeable in this arena. And his question is this service, I'm assuming the identity theft, cyber protection that we were just talking about, is that an add-on to my insurance policy I get with your company? So say you got some other, auto, boat, business, whatever, is it an add-on?
So it depends on which policy. So if it's a personal policy and some homeowners policies will come with some cyber coverage. They will come with some of it. It depends on the company. But if I'm offering you Identity Shield, that would be an additional product. And so it won't necessarily, it doesn't go with the home or the auto. There is no cyber coverage available with an auto policy or anything like that. But some homeowners policies will offer it. A business policy, like you're a business owner and you have a general liability policy or what they call a BOP, a business owner policy, some of those will be offered, depending on the insurance company, will offer some cyber coverage. And then there are some companies that there's a company called Cowbell, an insurance company that's all they do is cyber. And you can get $1 million of cyber coverage, data breach, all this. And that's where talking to a guy like myself, when you're a business owner, can break down the differences in the coverage, because like Michael Whitlock, we both know him very well. He has a product that he offers business owners with credit card machines. And if they get hacked, if the business owner doesn't have cyber and data coverage on their policy, that business owner is going to be out of luck, because Michael's policy is protecting his machine, not the company. Does that make sense? It's just like your credit card. With your credit card company, they're going to have a product to protect their credit card, but they're not really protecting you. So that's where the differences come into play, where there's protection that's out there for your business. There's protection out there for your credit card and your cell phones. Like if you have AT&T, they offer some sort of coverage on there on your phone, but there's not many products other than like an Identity Shield that can protect multiple devices all on one product.
When you talk about AT&T and coverage on your phone, we're not talking about coverage for a lost or broken phone.
No.
You're talking about a breach from something that happened as
Correct.
a result of me using my phone,
Correct.
my bank account app and all that stuff that's on there.
Right.
I didn't even know that was a thing that you could have.
Because most of them don't tell you unless you go looking for it. But there is a VPN available through AT&T. If you have AT&T service, there's a VPN on there, and the Identity Shield portion. This is why I love the product so much. For let's just use $29.95 a month. That's monitoring one bureau on your credit bureau for you, and it covers the whole family up to 10 children and husband and wife for $29.95 a month, and it'll cover up to 10 devices. So computers, laptops, it's all included in there. That product comes with Trend Micro. So there's a lot of services you're paying for that you can get rid of because it's all going to be covered on that one thing. And I'm not the type of person who's going to tell you to only have one protection.
Mhm.
That's an add-on protection. So if you have some cyber coverage with your homeowner's policy, I recommend keeping it because it's like $30 a year, but you're only going to get like 20 grand for that.
Right.
This is going to give you up to $1 million in coverage.
Well, you made me think of another question. I always learn something new when I talk to Doug. And forgive me if this is a silly question.
No.
If I have identity theft protection, ID Shield, whatever, and you're talking about different devices. So if I just have protection, does that not apply to some? How does that apply differently to like what I do on my computer here and what I do on my phone? Why would I need I guess my question is, why would I need a specific device covered and not just any internet activity? Because we're always online on different devices.
But that's what I'm saying. Most, like, use a business, you're a business owner, you have an employee that answers emails on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Most security systems that are set up in the office don't have the phone covered. Your computer has security backups like a Trend Micro or I can't even think the other one that comes with another company. But anyway, you'll have some security backup that's trying to block all the hackers from coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just gapped out what the other company's called. I can only think of Trend Micro right now, but it comes with a VPN. The VPN is protecting your phone. It's like you go into, like, say, Starbucks, and you want to use their Wi-Fi. If you don't have a VPN on your phone, then somebody can hack your phone because you've connected to that Starbucks Wi-Fi, and then they can clone your information and get right into it. And again, I'm not the tech savvy person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand all of it, but there's a lot of what they call out there fake. Like when you go into a restaurant and you see guest or you see this or you see that, sometimes you'll see 3 different Starbucks. That's because somebody else is sitting there trying to wait for you to log in, and you don't have a VPN and access the free Wi-Fi, and now they can get all your information. So now you're a business owner and you're one of your employees answering an email that they shouldn't necessarily be answering, and they've connected and answered it through that without having the protection with the VPN on their phone, then they now can have access to your network.
So if I have the identity protection for my business, would that or could that also apply to all devices like my computer, an iPad, cell phone, and an employee's cell phone?
No. Now, the one that the Identity Shield for business, that's all set up, and that'll monitor up to 6 URLs for like $79 a month, or 12 for 100 and some. But that's to monitor URLs. You can't make an employee put anything on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
But if the employee because you can offer this as a benefit to your employees, and if the employee buys the service, then they have it on their phone, because they can put it on their phone and they can have it on their computers at home. So the employee has to opt in to getting it, I'm not an attorney, obviously. You're not an HR attorney either, but we'd have to double check to see if an employer can say, hey, if I buy you this identity shield, you need to put the VPN on your phone to help protect, or you can't answer email, or we can't put the work email on there. I guess you could probably do that, but you'd have to, talk to, which now I have to find out that answer now. So I have to write that note down.
See how useful these conversations are?
Yeah, they are. They're very
Or,
useful.
or maybe the employer would have to provide the phone, but then could, require.
Oh yeah, if the employer's providing the phone, then they can put it on. They can put it on there.
And then you could say it's only for work purposes, or if they do choose to engage in personal, then I mean it's covered. But we won't go down that rabbit hole.
Right.
I could talk about this all day long. There's so much I didn't know. But let's so that's kind of a good segue into the business insurance. So I know a lot of people, like we're both small business owners. We know a lot of small business owners. A lot of people who are starting a business might not know the different types of insurance that they need or why they need it. So can you just briefly kind of go through that, like general liability, workers' comp, or because some people might need some and not others.
Right. So it really depends on the type of business you have. In the state of Virginia, as far as workers' comp goes, the state of Virginia says if it's you plus two, part-time or full-time, doesn't matter, you have to have it. You have to have workers' comp if you have two plus you. I always recommend if you have one employee, you should have it, because it doesn't matter if that employee is a family member and or whatever, your bestest friend. If they get hurt, they're going to sue if they get hurt on the job. That's just the world we live in. They can't work anymore. They were working for you, so it's to protect you. Yes, workers' comp protects the employee, but truly it protects the business. Because let's say you don't have workers' comp in place. I work for you. I get hurt really, really bad. I could sue you for, if I can't ever work again, I can sue you for whatever I would have made with you for the rest of my life, and you'll be paying that policy out. That's what workers' comp will do. And a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people go, oh my God, I pay so much for workers' comp. And again, it depends on what industry you're in. I mean, in our industry, and use me, for example, I'm on what they call class code 8810. That's like 8 cents for every $1,000, right? So I can make $1 million and I'm still not probably paying $1,000 a year for workers' comp. And folks, I don't make $1 million. So let's just clarify. I still need clients, lots of you. But if you're a roofer, and you're making $25,000 a year, that policy could still be $10,000 a year. So the heavier class you're in, the more chance of being at risk, the work comp policy is going to go up. So the general liability policy covers for stuff that could happen. In your case, just use your office, for example. If I walk in your office and slip and fall, I'm not an employee, I'm a potential client or a client, that general liability will cover the cost of getting me back right. So they say, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to hire me a good accident attorney, I'm going to sue you, and they're going to sue, and the policy is going to pay out on that. You and I have a policy called E&O insurance, errors and omissions or professional liability. Those policies are designed for, let's just say Gene, I offer you insurance, and I tell you I'm offering you the 100, 300, but you want the state minimum. And for some stupid reason, because I like you, I sell you the state minimum. And then you find out in the state minimum coverage that you crash into my car is worth $40,000 and yours is worth $40,000, but you've only got $25,000 worth of property damage, and you thought you were fully covered, and you're fully covered to that $25,000 amount. Then you could come after my E&O policy and saying, hey, you didn't tell me this, even though I did. And I'd have to show you and the attorney, hey, no, Gene signed off on this. So there's things like, you might give me advice, on how to get out of this traffic ticket, and then it doesn't work, and I might get pissed, and I might go, can I sue her? Again, we can sue anybody for anything. It's having protection in place for that what if.
Mm-hmm.
When I mentioned earlier, there's a product called business owner policy.
Mm-hmm.
Business owner policy will come with more bells and whistles, and sometimes it's a lot cheaper than getting a general liability policy and adding the extra coverages on there like cyber and
Mm-hmm.
data breaches and and all that kind of stuff. So it depends on what kind of business you do, and are you a brick and mortar business versus a home-based business.
Mm-hmm.
So it all comes into different avenues, different ways of doing it. And then of course there's commercial auto policies. It's different. If I'm hypothetical, if I'm driving my Jeep out to meet a client for a business, and if I had my logo on the side of my Jeep saying my company's name, and I was in a car accident, and what do most people do now? Take pictures of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That logo's on my car and I have a personal auto policy, the insurance company could deny the claim. So you have to be careful as a business owner. Where's your policy written and what are you doing with it? And if you're driving around with a logo, your car's wrapped, your van's wrapped with your business name on it, and you have a personal auto policy, you got to be careful.
Hmm.
And it's not like a commercial auto policy costs a whole lot more. Sometimes it's better. I've had clients that on a personal end of it, their rate was higher because sometimes the commercial, like we were talking about rating earlier with traffic tickets and everything like that, sometimes commercial policies don't rate on the same things as a personal one does. So
Yeah.
you gotta look at every avenue, and quite honestly too, and if you're a business owner, if you have a commercial auto policy, that's another tax write-off for you too, because that's a business expense, and now so is insurance. And
I
don't
might
I'm not a tax guy, but check with
have.
your accountant and your tax guy before you do anything. But it is a write-off.
I might have to add another chapter to my book about commercial auto policies because I didn't even deal with that. Maybe
Well,
we can do another live talking about
that's your
that.
next book, or like you said, or add another chapter and resell the new book with the new chapter.
Yeah, there you go.
Whatever way you want to do it. But there is, I mean, a lot of people don't think about stuff like that. And again, one of the reasons why you want to call an insurance agent like myself is to ask questions. Most people call to get a better price.
Mm-hmm.
A better price isn't always the best answer. And I'm not saying I can't save you money and give you better coverage, but having someone to talk to go over things when something happens, like, versus a 1-800 number.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the 1-800 number could be the better price, but it's not always the better price. And what is the best? What is, if people are only thinking about the day, what are they paying monthly?
Mm-hmm.
And when they need the help, and I'm not saying you're not going to get help, but I've heard stories when you deal with an online presence, then sometimes it's harder to get a hold of people.
Mm-hmm.
But again, sometimes it's hard to get a hold of everyone. I mean, but if you have an insurance agent that you trust and know, then that's, in my opinion, whether it's me or somebody else, stick with who you know. But again, it's just one of those things. It's like, it's Eugene. If someone has used you in the past to help them, they're going to refer you out to somebody else. And if
Mm-hmm.
they have another traffic ticket or violation or whatever, they're going to call you. That's the ultimate goal. We want to just get the word out and share what we do and help people. At the end of the day, that's why I started All Assured Solutions, is to be able to offer products and services that matter most to my potential client. Because it doesn't matter what I think is always right for them. I can guide them, but if they're not understanding everything and why I'm recommending it, then we go and we help them with what they're looking for. Sometimes it's auto, and then their homeowners comes up later and they're like, I just want to do auto right now. Well, at the end of the day, if we put them all together at the same time, you're going to get a multi-line discount. But sometimes The auto policy is the only thing that matters. Same with business owners. I have business owners call me, hey, I'm only looking for workers' comp right now. Okay. I'm only looking for general liability. It depends on the individual agency, how they want to work it. Some will say, no, if I can't have it all, we're not going to touch it. You know, I like to have a conversation on why are we doing this now and not helping with the rest. But let's just have a conversation and figure out what the best way is to help you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do. I don't even know how we got to that part or how I got that part. I forgot where we were.
I forgot too, but it was all useful. Mike Whitlock actually asked another question, which is really, I imagine, could open up a whole can of worms because you probably have a lot to say to this. It says, can Doug insure transportation workers like DoorDash or Uber drivers, and how is that different than regular policy? So I guess there could be two issues to discuss there. Is it the individual driver's insurance that covers them, or does the company that they work for have insurance that covers them?
So Uber drivers and DoorDash, those folks, the way the policies are written in certain insurance companies, like on your personal policy, will have what they call an endorsement for those rideshare / Uber type businesses. Because the way the policy works, if you drive for Uber, if you don't have this endorsement on your personal policy, when you click that button that you're going to pick up Gene, right? For 5 minutes from the time you picked up that client or the time you said yes, and 5 minutes after you've dropped off that client, you don't have coverage on your policy. So if something were to happen, then the insurance company is not coming. That's why you need to have this endorsement. And most of the companies now will do. There's a couple that still won't do it, but when this was the big thing, when Uber first came out and all that, there was a lot of people driving around without coverage because Uber's policy only covers the driver and the passenger when the person's in the car. So your policy from, like, hypothetically 5 minutes before when you click yes to 5 minutes after, if you don't have that endorsement, you're driving around with no coverage.
Huh.
So, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. But there are more and more companies. So in answer to Michael's question, yes, I have insurance companies that will offer that endorsement to cover those drivers. And I have some companies, if you're an actual delivery company, I can insure delivery drivers. I have companies that's what they specialize in. So, but I don't know, like, Gene, who are you insured with now? What's your insurance company, if I may ask?
Auto is Geico.
Okay. So Geico will have an endorsement if you were an Uber driver, that you could go in there and say, okay, hey, I'm going to do rideshare on the weekends because Doug's not sending me enough clients. So I got to do Uber over the weekend, then you can add that endorsement to your policy. And it's not a lot. It really isn't.
And so how is adding an endorsement to your auto policy different than a commercial driving policy? Because, like, we talked about a van that's wrapped with your company logo. How is driving for Uber going to pick up a driver or going to pick up a rider, the endorsement different from a commercial policy?
Because in short, the difference is when that client is in your car and you're driving that client from point A to point B, you're on Uber's policy, not yours.
Mm-hmm.
I have a commercial van that's wrapped that says my company name all over it. That means that a company owns that vehicle as far as the insurance, but the insurance policy is written in Doug's name, not All Assured Solutions' name. So Doug would be covered, but not the van, because hypothetically the van is all assured. So the insurance company is insuring Doug and his cars, not Doug and All Assured Solutions cars. Does that make sense? See, I told you I try to teach insurance on like middle school level, but that's where the differences will come into play. And that's where an insurance company can go, hey, we're not going to pay this claim because obviously It's a work vehicle. It's got all assured solutions wrapped all around it. You know, it should be on an all assured, it should be on a commercial auto policy with all assured solution as the named insured, not Doug, or in this case, Doug and Jenna Buram on our personal policy because it's not on there. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Oh, Joe Turpin is here. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
He says, if you are a salesperson driving your own car, this is good because I was thinking about this. If you're a salesperson driving your own car to make sales calls or meetings, I guess, and you are hurt in an accident, will the company workman's comp cover your injury? Oh, that's a good question.
So, yes, the workers' comp policy will cover the injury if you're driving for your business. It also, if the general liability policy could also have an endorsement on it called non-owned auto, which means that the company doesn't own that vehicle. Joe does, and he's driving for the company, so that company policy could pick up some coverage. But yes, if you're driving for business and you get hurt during business driving to a location or from a location, as long as it's in the state where the coverage is. So if the coverage, the work comp policy only has Virginia on it and you're driving in Maryland to do a job, no, the insurance company's going to have a hard time with that one. At the end of the day, will they pay out? Yes, but they're going to have to put a claim and put more premium for Maryland. But they would fight it, and it would take a long time. But at the end of the day, there's really no coverage if the work comp policy is in Virginia and you're driving in Maryland. Joe, I hope that answers your question.
Well, if it doesn't, Joe, then you can type in another one.
Yeah, or Joe, you could just call me too.
Or we can talk the next time we see each other at an event. Wow. I could ask so many more questions, but I mean, I'll just keep us here all day. Oh, Joe said, yes, it does answer his question. So thank you, Doug.
Good.
I guess, is there, I mean, I know your company provides access to so many different types of insurance. Is there anything else we didn't touch on that you wanted to mention today?
You know, I don't know if I really touched on it, but we offer benefits for employees for businesses. So, everything from dental, vision, identity protection, you name it, we can offer life insurance. We can help. Anything you think that's insurance related, call me if you got a question. Again, if I can't help you, I'll point you in the right direction of who can. Because at the end of the day, that's why our company is called All Assured Solutions and not All Insurance Solutions, because some of our products, like the Identity Shield, are not insurances. They're protections, but we offer packages that can help. You have a hard time retaining employees because you can't afford benefits. Well, we have programs that you don't have to pay for anything, but we can give them to you as a discount as a business owner, just for allowing us to talk to your employees and give them the special price. So, like, remember when I mentioned that the ID Shield is $29.95 for a family? Okay. If I offered that as, say, I go to your company and we set up a program to offer Identity Shield as a benefit, I can offer it to the employee for $21.95. So it's like a 30% discount.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's what I do. I mean, I go, like, sometimes I walk into a company and just to try to get to know them and who to talk to or whatever. And sometimes their focus, like we mentioned, it's general liability. A lot of companies do all their benefits are happening now. They're starting to plan their year end from October through January 1, when they're doing all their benefit enrollments and all that stuff. Sometimes, some companies, their general liability is a certain time and workers' comp is a different time because they got their general liability first because it was just them. and then
Mm-hmm.
they have
Mm-hmm.
employees down the road, so their workers' comp's different. So, but at the end of the day, All Sure Solutions is truly that. I don't want to. I think it's for me. I mean, a lot of people don't understand it when I say it, but to me, I think it really says what we do. We are your all assured solution. Whatever you think you have an issue with, like you mentioned, pet insurance, I've got a solution for you. You need help with your car insurance. I got a solution for you. Sometimes you may not like the solution, but I've got something I can offer you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, your business, I can help protect your business. We have umbrellas for personal. We have umbrellas for the commercial business. And if those that don't know what an umbrella means, think about it. Got an umbrella over top of you. So every policy in your personal lines, if you have your home and auto, there's extra coverage over top of those. So if you got $500,000 in liability on your home, you can add another million or more in an umbrella. So if someone really gets mad at you and tries to sue you and take everything you got, that umbrella policy will kick in and help cover it. So anything you can think of insurance related or just protection. Again, anything that matters the most to you, call us because we have products and services. That's why I gave you that little thing, a robust suite of products and services. We have them. I mean, I can help business owners. I don't do it, but if some of my business owners are out there, I have access to a payroll company that can help you with your payroll. You know, introduce you to them. And again, I don't do it, but I offer this. I can get you in contact with the right people to help reduce your cost. At the end of the day, as a business owner or an individual, I want to offer you peace of mind that you can go and just focus on life and live your life and not worry about stuff because a lot of us worry about things. There's nothing we can do about it. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but I can help protect you personally or in your business for those things that, sometimes they're little bumps in the road, sometimes they're big ones.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on how much we've talked about, maybe you're a brand, couple, you're married the last couple of years and now you're thinking about having a baby. Well, now that family should probably, if they don't have life insurance already in place for the husband and wife, they should probably look at something to cover, help protect that child, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things. Like if you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you'll see helpful information out there. I'm not always trying to sell. I mean, yes, I want more clients, but there's informational stuff out there. Hey, you're at now. All your kids are off at school. You're empty nesters now. What in your financial life has changed? There's information out there that I put out there all the time. You know, I like to think that I'm a great follow, if that makes any sense. I can give you some great information. You can take it with, you know, that's about the only thing I can give you is information. You know, I can give you information. You can take it and do what you will. Um, and if you end up buying insurance from us, that's great too, because we like our clients and we like to make our clients our friends. At the end of the day, I want to roll through life with my friends and my clients and help them as their lives make changes. Because we change all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we even have a service to help with wills. You need a will done. I've got a service for that too. I don't do your will, but I got a service for you.
Yeah, I don't do that either. I'd send it to somebody else.
Right. Exactly. So
But
you
yeah, I thought about that a minute ago. That's a good example because when you're talking about anything financial, you really have to think about the whole picture. It's not just car insurance or business insurance. I mean, life insurance is something to think about too. And if you do have kids, your will and oh, I forgot the term for it, but companies like Aflac that have that what do you call that coverage?
disability insurance. Yep.
Disability. I'm not sure that's the word I was looking for, but yeah, I mean there's all sorts of things to think about and to be prepared for, and especially if you have a family and other people, not just, your car, your house. There's so many things to think about. And it's
Right.
good that you have access to those different companies and solutions for people who don't necessarily need insurance coverage, but will, if you're talking about all these things, then these other things are going to come up and they should try to see what they can do to get them in
Right.
place if they're not already in place.
Yeah, you were probably thinking like accidental insurance and stuff like that.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of.
'cause
Yeah.
we offer Aflac too, um, but I have a partner that actually does all that for me. So,
Oh, okay.
but again, any kind of insurance that you're thinking about, call us first or call us second. Just call us. You know, we'll give you advice. We don't charge for advice.
Mm-hmm.
We're free. That advice and information is free.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go to my website and get half this information out there. And it's very easy. It's very user friendly. And if you disagree with it, show me how to fix my website and we'll fix it too.
Yeah.
So, but we're here. We're here to help and give advice. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We truly want to be your all assured solutions for whatever life has to throw at you. Again, if we don't offer a service for you, and you're looking for something, we can help you find that person or company that can help you.
Well, I think for everybody that was watching, for any part of this, I'm sure that you clearly can see now why Doug's company is called All Assured Solutions, because it's not just insurance; it's so many different things. And if he, for some reason, doesn't have access to whatever it is that you need, he will put you in touch with those people and get you that access. So, Doug, if is there anything else you want to leave us with before we sign off for the day?
I just want to say thank you, Gene, again for your time. I really appreciate you taking your time out to allow me to talk. Because as you can see, I like to talk.
Well,
So
so do I. That's why these lives always go longer than planned. Um,
exactly,
and just like I said the last time that we talked, I could talk about so many other things. And I think I don't even think we talked about anything we talked about the last time. There's just so much. And I'm actually hoping that you'd be willing to do this again. And I'm thinking maybe we could do a live that's just focused on the auto insurance and how it relates
sure.
to potential criminal liability there. But that's just an idea.
Yeah, I'm open. You let me know when you're good, and we'll make it fit in the calendar.
Awesome.
For lack of better words or whatever, I like being on other people's stages, and this is like a stage to me. And those who know if they're listening, know what I'm talking about. But you have an audience I don't have access to, so I appreciate your time, and I like to think that maybe someone got on here that didn't know you beforehand because you put out all over Facebook and social media that we were doing this.
Right.
So hopefully I can introduce some people to you, and as well as your audience coming to me. I think the last time we did this, we helped out one of your good friends with insurance on her home. So
Yes, I can't remember who it was,
Doreen,
even if I'm sorry?
I think her name was Doreen. She's not my client right now because I work for that other insurance agency. That's where she's still at. Because I'm not allowed to reach out to her.
Right, right.
So,
Okay.
you know,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a great example. I now people in your network, people that might see me, and then people who are in my network that don't know you, which are probably very few, now know you and what you can provide. So yeah, this is a good platform. Yeah.
yeah, I
So
like it. Keep
yeah,
doing it, and I'll come on whenever you need me to. And
awesome,
if you want to chat just about, personal auto, we can do that the next time too. Whatever you want.
awesome.
I'm here to help any way I can.
Well, there's so many things we can talk about, but I definitely want to do that.
Okay.
And then also, people do watch these later or, watch bits and pieces later. So anybody that is watching the replay or, seeing it online later because it's not going anywhere, you can feel free to type your questions in there, and Doug and I will get notifications of that. So if you're watching this later and have a question about something that you heard, type it in there, and then we'll get back to you with more likely I'll say, "Hey, Doug, I don't know the answer."
Sure.
But yeah, we'll get back to you. So feel free to ask any questions, even if you didn't see this live. So Doug, as I said earlier, you can stay on for a second once I end the broadcast. But
Okay.
thank you so much, Doug
Sure.
Buram with All Assured Solutions, and thanks everybody for watching. And I will see you again in a couple of weeks. I'm going to try to stick to a schedule of the first and third Wednesday of the month. instead of sporadic. So hopefully I will see you all again in 3 weeks, and I will, or 2 weeks, and I will be posting about who our next guest is. So thank you, everybody, and thanks, Doug.
Thank you guys for watching.
Bye.
Bye.